Peace, family. So I'm back with another one, you know what I'm saying? So today what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk to my chosen ones about death and the energy the cemeteries hold. You know what I'm saying? As we know, we haven't been burying these vessels for as long as humans have been, inhabiting this earth right here, you know what I'm saying? But as I started diving in a little bit more since my ascension, I realized that these cemeteries hold a certain energy and frequency there. Where I had some of my homeboys stay at just within the past, some of them stayed right next to cemeteries, like their houses here, streets here, cemeteries here, you know what I'm saying? They got the parks in some locations, you got the cemetery right across the street from the park, you know what I'm saying? And when you think about what's actually going on today, and you think about what actually happens at the cemetery, I'm not going to dive too much into the business aspect, because we all know that getting buried is a business. Like, it's like outside of the 3D part, you know what I'm saying? We already know the funeral homes make a lot of money. You're paying pastors. It's all kind of things that you're paying for that is definitely, you know what I'm saying, like feeding the matrix more. But when you think of it outside of that 3D form and a spiritual standpoint, you are actually leaving all this old energy here on this earth and this planet. It's like they're trying to box it in and put as many like dead weight spaces and low vibrational spaces around as they possibly can. You know what I'm saying? It's like, even with the animals, like for an example, I had a squirrel just move on to its next journey in my yard, you know what I'm saying? And I don't have big vultures and birds and shit that be in my space over there. But the way the universe works, I couldn't personally smell the squirrel, you know what I'm saying? But the squirrel had been moved on for about, I would say, at least a week and a half, 2 weeks. Right around that 2-week marker, I saw a big ass vulture just hanging out on like the next building over, but just looking. It was like down at the squirrel, but I guess when I came out, it kind of just flew up to the top of the house. But then I seen, like, throughout the next 2-3 days, I seen a couple of them over there doing their job. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't smell it, but they could still sense it. I couldn't smell it, but they could still sense it. It must have still gave off a certain vibration, but even though their senses are more keen than our senses, but it's like that squirrel vessel was removed. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't left sitting, lingering, lollygagging, like trying to make a fossil out of it, like all this other weird shit they be trying to do to keep everything vibrating at the lowest vibration possible. You know what I'm saying? The universe did its job and the life cycle took its course. You know what I'm saying? The vultures came through and it cleaned up the deceased. You know what I'm saying? The words we use. But these cemeteries, outside of people paying out the pockets and getting put in the hole to be buried when someone moves on to their next journey, you know what I'm saying? Your energy is still also left lingering here. You know what I'm saying? If you think about it, when you cremate, we already know earth, wind, and fire is like a part of the big correlation and the factors that play into this universe out here. You know what I'm saying? So that's one reason why in the movies they always had to burn witches. You know what I'm saying? And that's just on a weird witchy level. But even some of our old ancestors, not in our day and age and before, because this shit, they've been burning motherfuckers for a little while now, but even before, cremating is the option. But before, it's like we burn candles and incense and all these things because it kind of helped energetically. That's the same thing as cremating and burning the vessel. You know what I'm saying? And it's like when I started just correlating the two back and back, and before I even got to this part of my ascension, I already knew that just from a fucking 3D standpoint, I knew that I wanted to be cremated if something happened to me, when it happens to me, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't know when it's going to happen. But if you let the ones around you know, or give them an idea, that way if something random does happen to you, you already know what to do with the vessel, you know what I'm saying? But for the ones that's like, we going out and holding on to this energy as long as we possibly can, it's like we're also pulling them back into this space as well, you know what I'm saying? So I can understand why certain cultures do certain rituals when it's like time for that transition to happen, because it's a whole transition that happens. It's never just like, okay, somebody just sporadically died or was just at the wrong place, wrong time. It was a lot of steps that led to you being at that place, or it was a lot of steps that led to this parent not being aware of what the hell is going on with their kids, and their kids end up taking a stray bullet or some shit like that. It's always things that can correlate to what leads us to these positions, whether we want to look at it or not. The only difference is we look at it from a 3D standpoint and not the energy that we've been putting out there that led us to this point. You know what I'm saying? So if you got a town and you got like, let's just do a small town. Say you got a small town of like fucking 10,000, 5,000 people. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna have like at least 20 cemeteries around, even if they're not big, because they have to like strategically place this low vibrational energy around to kind of help do what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? It's no other reason to be holding on to that energy, and don't hold on to me when it's my time to move on to my next journey. You know what I'm saying? Let me go on to my next journey. I don't want to be left lingering around here and wandering around, because everything is a transition. Nothing ever just happens. It's not like, and I'm always thinking about this and trying to correlate it, but it's like nothing ever happens to where like, boom, you get hit. Let's say you get shot in the head. Boom, you get shot in the head. Your spirits leaves your body, but that doesn't mean that it always transitions up or down right away. I believe that there's like some kind of median period in between that space, you know, because if you think about any transition that happens in life, it doesn't just happen. It's usually something that is like a median piece for the transition. Like you can feel it, whether it's you switching jobs, you know what I'm saying, and or you feel you about to get that pay raise, or whether you've been looking into a bunch of avenues to figure out how to motherfucking get a vehicle, you know what I'm saying, or whether you was just trying to figure out different shit to invest into, or looking into healthier eating habits, you know what I'm saying, just all these different things. But it's like, when we move on to our journey, I don't believe that these cemeteries are supposed to be here still holding our energy. I already understand that, fuck them, they not supposed to be making no money off of us and doing that shit already if you don't have the finances. But we should be looking into more spiritual based tactics to help us move on when we're going on to our next journey. So spiritually, I would rather be burned, get this vessel up out of here, so that way nobody can. Think of it like this. Your vessel, think of it like a voodoo doll. Think of your vessel like a voodoo doll. When you're gone, they have access to your vessel to kind of still be able to manipulate your energy in between realms. This is why a lot of times you find us still like reaching and trying to communicate, or stuck in that little median ground. And it's like, oh, okay, I think I talked to my grandmother. I think my aunt just, you know, she reached out to me, you know what I'm saying, in the spirit world. It's like, if we aren't really feeding them spiritually and making sure they good on the other side, then clearly they're not in the healthiest space when they're trying to reach back for us in this manner. You know what I'm saying? The same way they pull back to help us in the spirit world, we can do things to help them in the spirit world. That's why a lot of things that this Matrix do, they focus on is on the invisible world. That's what I teach my daughter right now, because she don't comprehend the other shit. So I just tell her it's a visible world and an invisible world. You know what I'm saying? When you connect your tablet to this Wi-Fi, do you see what's going on in between it? No, you don't. It's happening in the invisible world. So we got to understand that this spiritual realm is way more powerful than this fucking 3D realm. If you have a choice, you should be preparing your journey for when you move on from out of here. You don't want to have your vessel still sitting here and then people being able to do whatever they want to do and manipulate your energy or trap your ass here. It's an easier way to trap a lot of motherfuckers here with these cemeteries. So for me, I know being spiritually more connected and being a spiritual being, having a human experience, I know that I'm always preparing for my next journey because it can happen anytime. So why not be taking every precaution I could possibly take, you know what I'm saying, and trying to take every angle that I possibly can take to make sure that my ride is smoother when I leave here. You know what I'm saying? You don't know and you ain't guaranteed, so the best thing you can do is line your actions up, you know what I'm saying? Live as honestly and as organically as you possibly can. Just make sure you preparing yourself for the next journey, because we all have to go. Everyone, nobody stays. This tree doesn't stay forever. This grass don't stay forever. Nothing stays here forever. So it's no reason why we should be living in fear of our next journey, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't want to run it up too long, you know what I'm saying? Y'all tap into everything down below. Peace to the kings and queens.